All right, what up, everybody? We're here with the one and only Jakob Michaels. Started work with this guy back in what's it been, 2.5, 3 months now?
Out there.
Something like that. We were working together, and he had some things to share on what's working in chat, what's working with DM ads, what's working in the agency space, and scaling. And we're just gonna riff on his experience with chat funnels, working with me, and all the good things in between. So, you want to introduce yourself, homie?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Dylan. So, my name's Jakob Michaels. I'm here in Columbus, Ohio. And over the last year, I built basically a business that services local service based businesses. So, think like your roofers, your deck builders, all these people that are out there and they have high ticket services, but they have a severe deficit in leads typically, or they're strapped into an old thing like Google. And, we really need to turn them on to what Dylan is the master at, and that is selling in the DMs. My business has been great. We had a setting structure that worked, but
Mm,
you don't really know until you do. And
mm,
I came to Dylan in a kind of lower point where it's like, yo, I really need, I really need to get things worked out. Ads were having struggles. Everything was struggling, dude, in the system. And this is after going through a year where in 6 months I made like somewhere in the ballpark of 150, 200K. And I'm like, dude,
mm.
what do I do? And I have to bump across the chat Bible, read it,
Oh,
thought a lot, and it made sense. And then booked that call at Dylan, and Dylan made me basically the Godfather offer.
you
And
got
for
indoctrinated.
yeah, yeah, dude, straight up fully and I mean, it helps too that I feel like Dylan and I are kind of kindred spirits to an extent too here. But like we found out we had a lot of things in common. But above all else, I just got to give the guy props. Like he told me when we first met, one of his biggest goals was, I want people to think selling with chat and think chat funnels. And at least for this guy and the guys I've talked to, talking about the process of working with Dylan, he's done that. He completely changed everything so quickly. It was amazing.
Wow.
Working at the local level, man, and being able to get those conversations started with hard-nosed business owners that are so used to the same old crap. The fact we're able to break through that and get a reaction right out the gate and get them booked into calls more efficiently has been game changing. I wish my VA was on here too, so Vaughn could actually attest to how much this is done, being the first-hand person on the front lines using this too.
Wow. Yeah, I appreciate that. So you mentioned you were doing really well for a
Mhm.
while. And the business was cranking along. You made a pretty significant amount of money in a pretty short amount of time. What
Mhm.
made it decline? What
Yeah.
happened before you met me?
Yeah, and I think so. There's a few things I think that went into that. One was Meta making a bunch of changes in ads, which is outside of our control. So I flipped the ads over and started cracking the code on what ads are actually working. And for B2B guys, I'll tell you what, don't pull out your fancy camera, put your videographer away, just make some simple organic style content and do with an ads format, the traditional thing. That helped a lot there. But what we were really missing was we're getting a lot of followers in, but we're getting a lot of response. It's so hard in the DMs, man. My VA is like,
Yeah.
boss, I want to book more calls in for you, but dude, these people just aren't responding. And I think a big part of it was a thing known as market awareness that I think you and I have talked about in the past. People are just aware of seeing the same stuff over and over again. It's why I think the ads stopped working as much B2B too, because everyone's seeing the same high produced ads. They're getting hit with them every day. I slid in under the radar, the simpler ad, and it works. Same thing at the chat as well.
Mm, mm.
Even though still with chat's a little bit more, old school and it's been around for a while, it hasn't been used in a lot of markets and it's super effective. So when we changed this chat strategy up, and Dylan like right away came out as like the winning strategy. I think we tested like one variation for like a week or two, and then he switches over to this hyper power variation. We wrote our own SOP. Oh man,
And was it
Wha-
great? The open rates for you? Was it the conversation itself?
both,
Where were you losing people? Yeah.
both.
Okay.
Yeah. So the open rates are terrible because the open rates is like, hey, what's up? Appreciate the follow.
Yeah.
Personalization of the profile. How long you been out here in Columbus?
Mm,
Okay, it did okay. I'm not like pooping on my coaches or anything when I say that too. So please, if you happen to see this, guys, I'm not saying that. It wasn't working. We have another guy in town that's doing the same kind of thing as me. He was using the same opener, so I think it burned it out a little bit too. We had 3 people at one time doing it. I'm the only one that survived. So changing that
Damn.
got the response rates up from I think about we're looking like 5 or 10%, like 5% up to like 10 or 15%, I think.
Oh wow. So you about tripled it.
Yeah, we pretty much tripled it. Dude, I've been booking in more calls than I know what to do with. Like I booked like this morning I woke up before my V even got on and I had 3 calls booked today and all 3 have booked to sales meetings. They're qualified leads. Like,
Wow. Not
yeah. So it was insanity. And then they were falling off in the conversation because the conversation was just like basically asking if they've run ads before and then saying, "Hey, I'd like to give you a breakdown on this."
mm,
And then what you had in there, the non sequiturs and all this stuff that you're able to eloquently voice when you describe it yourself, dude. It just revamped everything.
yeah.
It really did, and I took it and applied it to my clients' DM process as well, and it's worked with them.
Are you serious? Man.
Oh yeah, we put it in for my dog trainer, dude, and he's not doing kind of the same opener we're doing. I don't want to give away too much because you got to talk to the king if you want the all the keys to the castle.
For sure.
But at the same time, we gave him the same kind of non sequiturs and stuff like that inside of his setting sequence. I talked to him today, and the guy is so ridiculously busy. Has a limit of taking 3 dogs a week, and he's taken 6.
So this hasn't just helped your business. This has helped your clients' businesses too.
Yes,
Wow.
100%.
Wow.
100%. It's
And
been
so and now they're are they continuing to pay you and things are improving on the fulfillment side? Like, so has that helped your I guess your I mean, I assume it would have helped your cash
yeah.
position.
Well, being able to have better results and client results, because there was a period of like 6 months where didn't really have very many client results because just things were dry.
Yeah.
And being able to have those client results like that is like, yo, this is great.
Yeah.
I'd say the hardest part about doing this whole system that we've put in place for the clients and myself sometimes, well, not for myself because I get it, but my clients especially is just making sure they know that, follow the framework and don't go off the wheels and try and be a doctor in the chats or a diagnostician.
Mm. So,
It's
Jacob,
been great.
you and I have a common kind of thread where we care about like human psychology, the human mind,
Yeah.
human behavior. We're really deep into that kind of stuff, and I just applied it to a different area. You've really mastered it with video. I've mastered it really with chat. So, like, what are you seeing is like what I like to share with the audience is why something works. Because if you understand why it works, then you can either replicate it in different areas, or you can continue doing it and you can improve upon it. So, why do you feel like what we implemented started actually working from the customer's perspective?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I can give some insight on this because I've started asking on my calls, how did you feel about the conversation we had in the chats? Because that's
Oh,
actually a lead in I use to kind of give them a moment of mind blown and then lead to the sales call. So essentially what they've told me is it just like I've had people literally say I can like pull a screenshot of this where it says like this guy said this is an eye-opening conversation in the chats. We haven't even gone on to the call yet.
wow.
Uh so what it is, it's just like why I think this works is this. There's this idea that like I'll give you an example from kind of some of my world, right? Like let's say for example you have somebody that's really bad at speaking on camera. One of the first things I always have them do is say, "Okay, so I'm gonna have you do. I want you to read the script and do your thing, but I want you to dig your toes into your shoes and imagine you're rooted deeply in the ground and focus on that while you're doing this." So it takes their mind off of this stuff while they can focus on somewhere else, but they have to be aware of that, the shifting of awareness. I think what it was above all else, like these conversations aren't just like, "Hey, I want to sell you something," or "Hey, I, have this valuable thing." I think it's more along the lines is we're just drawing their awareness to their gaps
Hmm.
in a very, very permissive, non-boiler room kind of way, and they've never seen that before. And because of that, we're able to basically have them open up on a much deeper level. It's interesting. So, and then add in the surrounding of social proof on that you're getting from whether you're doing LinkedIn, whether you're doing Instagram, whether you're doing Facebook. If you've stacked up your profile probe, which is a part of chat funnels too, I just happen to have it already installed through prior stuff. If you have your profile stacked up correctly, it is a giant walking trust building thing. So that when they do get that initial message, they go on and research and they go, yo, this guy really knows his stuff. Like, where is it? How did, what? This is awesome. Well, so I don't know if I answered the question, but hopefully it did. I just think it's like
Yeah, yeah, that kind of.
awareness in.
I think it's more of like a discussion point, right? Like why is it work? But you're right. Like if you go and offer a solution to somebody that, let's say, a potential buyer, I found that somebody who would have bought, but they weren't even aware of their problem at the point. That so the solution that you offer to them is actually irrelevant unless they really are like, oh, I didn't realize how bad my problem was. He said my eyes are open now. So what's the next logical step for that guy? Is it for him to keep the problem on purpose, or would he want to actually have a conversation with the person that opened his eyes?
You got it.
Yep, exactly. That is it. So okay, I know when we first spoke, you seemed a little jaded from online programs, and we really like we really like kind of jumped off a cliff together here. What was it for you that made you pull the trigger? Like you had no idea this was gonna work. Uh, what was your tipping point?
Yeah, man. Well, first off, it helped that I got on exceedingly well with you. But I get along with a lot of people though. What really got me was, once I'd read through the chat Bible, I knew there was something here. Um, and again, you kind of made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And once it got implemented and working, because that's the thing, like you've got a lot of confidence in what you do because I can tell you've done it a lot and you've helped a lot of people that are bigger knuckleheads than me get their stuff straight, right? So I was very jaded. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had some super good programs.
Yeah.
I've had some programs I'm like, why did I pay for this?
Mm.
Um, and I'm not gonna lie. I at first thought like, hey, I'm just gonna take a stab at the dark. If this doesn't work out, I'll figure something out. And dude, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me how much heavy lifting now that I see how the sausage is made.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Seeing how that's done, like you have engineered all of this and it's so replicatable,
Mm.
you
That's
know?
an important point because most people fall off. Like most owners can can do the DMs themselves and they can work a lead. But then they hand it over to a VA or a setter or even AI nowadays. And still like there's something that drops out. They lose like the
Yes.
stickiness of the conversation. Something's missing, goes away. You were the opposite. Your VA is actually crushing it. Like he's doing so well. So what was it that made him actually able to grab onto the because we didn't do a lot of skill building with him. We just gave him the process, he followed it, and it worked. So what did you find there that made him so easily adapt the process?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it comes from some of the things you don't particularly talk about in chat funnels, like directly on the marketing side that is super important.
Yeah.
You came in and gave me a really good schooling on leadership
Oh, I
and
see.
assigning hats and things like that. I knew for a fact I did not want to be the one in the DMs all day. I knew that for a fact. Vaughn, I mean, I had 3 setters before we met. I fired 2 of them because they weren't producing results. Vaughn was the only one producing any kind of results.
Yeah.
What really killed it for Vaughn, I think, is one, he formed a good relationship with you. He comes on to our weekly calls. You kind of told me like, hey man, we really get this guy taking ownership of this thing if we really want to succeed. And I'm like, I think you're right, and it's been so good for him. He's training up my new employee right now as we're filming this.
Okay, I remember that conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's
So I think it's more than anything, it's just like he already had a good grounding, and he was already a good what is the term you use to describe when somebody's like a good fit for an organization?
I think that what would it be? I don't know. Sure. Yeah,
IP?
ICP.
ICP.
I think that's for like more market, but yeah, they're like it's their culture fit is how I look at it. They're like
Yeah.
they really fit the bill of personality wise, uh, mental state. You know what they want. Their goals are in alignment. We had a call specifically around um, and I'll just so the audience knows what we did was my leadership style is I really just give the responsibility away to who is on my team. So you own that area. That's yours. And what happens is they rise to the occasion or they crumble. And what I want on my team is people who can rise to the occasion when we need it because you don't know when that is. So what you do um and what we did on our call very beautifully and it worked perfectly. Most people think, "Oh, VAs suck.
Mhm.
Virtual assistants, they never know what to do." And what I realize is there's very rarely people that are bad at their jobs. It's you're not giving them the chance to really utilize their intelligence. And what I did is and when you give them responsibility, they can just utilize their intelligence. They can take material and you give them a target and they start operating efficiently and effectively. You can do that with any a VA, a CSM, a setter, and you say, "Hey, man, I've seen like some low level people come to life because I say, "Hey, man, the whole business is relying on you.
Mhm.
One of our employees is sick and they need you." And they just come to life, and they all of a sudden calls start coming on the calendar. That's really and then what's cool is your guy never stopped. He just kept going. So let's touch on that. Like, what have you noticed with him? Is his changes in his mood, money, how much money he's making, how much better the business is doing overall with that.
Yeah, I mean, to give you an idea, he'd been in the organization for months, and just due to like, the only ones I've been able to close for a while there, because of just how bad the chat and ads and things were going was, like, referrals. So he never got any commission, he's just at his base rate. Now he's got commission, he's like, "Holy crap, this is a thing?" Like, "Yeah, dude." So he's completely motivated. His whole attitude's changed. I mean, not that it was bad before, it was already great, but Vaughn's become so much more invested and so much more of an asset
Yeah.
to what I'm doing. I mean, I bring him on almost every call I can now.
Mm,
Not like sales calls, thing value that, but yeah, but I'll let him go into the back end and look at him if he wants. We gave him access to the comprehensive background in chat funnels, and he's inhaled that.
wow.
He continues to. Um, he's really just taken this ownership that's just so great that I don't know. It's been so great for his everything, and he even says himself like, "Oh, I'm really appreciative for the way things." And I don't think he's just saying that being polite either. I think I've kind of got Vaughn to the point. I'm like, Vaughn, I don't bullshit you. You know that, right? He goes, "No, boss, you don't." I go, "Okay, don't bullshit me. Tell me the truth." You know. So it's been incredible. Like, just to have an employee that's so devoted that because now he's getting the success and the tools he needs and the responsibility he craved is great. We all want what's the word? We all want affirmation. Is that the right word? Or we all want,
Yeah.
yeah, we want some kind of affirmation of that we're doing is important. And
Mm,
he's got that and he loves it.
mm. Yeah, he wants to feel like what he's doing is contributing, right? Well, everybody does, and even if like people believe that like an employee just wants to be paid, they just want to be paid. Well, no,
Sure.
they really wanna contribute. That's what I found, is they wanna contribute, and they don't wanna just take a paycheck. Most people aren't as criminal as we they everyone makes them out to be, you know? Nobody wants to do that. They'll end up leaving the company, not because they're not you could pay somebody hundreds of thousands of dollars, but if they don't feel like they're exchanging and giving an exchange of that level, then they'll end up leaving, and then you'll wonder why. "I pay 'em great, how come?" Well, they didn't feel like they were giving. That's really all it is. And,
So
yeah. Yeah, that's what I found. Um, Something you said earlier, because I think we have a bit of a similar market. We were talking about you were a bit jaded
Mhm.
before starting, and look, I've been there too, right? So I think everybody's a little burnt out with advertisements and like a lot of this. Like it's just been with AI now, things are moving faster. We just see ads. I think there was a study. How many ads a day does somebody see? It was something like crazy, like 800 ads
Yeah.
or something like that. And I think it's probably gone up since then. That was like a while ago. Um, and you're in a more, I would call it a sophisticated market. I'm in a sophisticated market, meaning they buy a lot.
Yeah.
They either for me, I sell to the people that wrote the sales scripts, so
Yeah.
you can imagine how difficult that is, and so there was a point in this space around the time when you were doing really well. Things were like there was a really high demand and not a lot of solutions.
Yep.
So the demand could outpace the solutions. Then what happened is so many people saw that there's opportunity in this market. It kind of, what's the saying that Warren Buffett says? He says, once the tide goes out, you'll see who's swimming naked.
Mhm.
When the tide goes out, you'll see who's swimming naked. So for me, what that means in this market is when the demand goes down or the competition gets heavy, you'll see who's really good. So, what have you noticed in the market as it's changed and how maybe this process relates to the jaded market when they don't really answer people anymore because they're used to being sold? How has this changed the way you sell? Or how, maybe even before me, how did you change the way you sell because of this?
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, I look at it this way. I was already closing before my business was really booming. I was closing a lot in the DMs anyway, but on like sorry, not Instagram, but on Facebook. I have a prolific Facebook profile. I have 8.1K organic followers, and everyone
Mm.
I've collected it for. I've been on Facebook since it was went out nationally. So I was using that a lot, and I was already kind of closing the chats, but without any kind of guidelines. So of course I'd have some people being like, "Oh, What I found out is this, and what I think the cool thing is this: everyone is focused here, guys, on how can we text them, how can we email them,
Mm.
how can we blah 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 blah. Screw that. Send them a DM and do it in a way that's going to get them to open. Because I think when we first talk, here's something else that's really important, guys. It doesn't always have to be like a hooky, crazy DM, depending on your market.
Yeah.
But like, dude, Dylan came to me with like I don't know if we want to give it away here or not,
Just
but like,
what?
oh, give it away? Okay,
Yeah.
screw it. Dylan came to me and he's like, yo, dude, I'm gonna have you start sending these openers as dad jokes. And I literally, because there's whenever you work with somebody that you believe in, there's always that spy that's going, yeah, this is gonna be great. Then there's the other side who's going, are you kidding me right now? What? There's no way this is gonna work. But I let the faith ride. And lo and behold, first few days of implementing this, boom. We're opening with dad jokes. And it's working. Selling service-based businesses, and it's crazy. So basically, like, uh, it's I'm still like wrapping my head around. We joke about like almost every call, like, dude, you're the guy that paid to like teach me how to do DMs at dad jokes. But I think what's great about it though is when that notification comes up on their phone right here, you get that bing, you see this little message and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And you go and respond to them, or you just graze through your DMs really quick. So
Yes.
that was the important part right there, depending on your sophisticated level of buyer. But on top of that, it's just it's weird. Like, I think it's like the game of telephone. I use this a lot in Magic, believe it or not. Telephone, like the idea of telephone, where like
Mhm.
your brain will fill in the conversation. When you watch somebody have a telephone call, your brain will fill in the conversation that they're
Yeah.
at. I use that a lot. Like sometimes I'll do like if I'm doing something to someone, it's like if there's a good example of this. It's like if you go out to club and you go out to bars and you're out with a bunch of your friends and you've got something like really prolific to drop on one
Yeah.
of your friends that you know about. And you just go, hey, John, come here. While everybody else is observing and they go, what? What do you mean?
Yeah.
How do you know about that? And what happens is everyone else's brain fills in and goes, oh, what could that be? Pretty much. And
Yeah.
it just kind of goes from there.
just dad jokes. You have such a sophisticated market. So many people think, oh, my market is business owners. They would never work for me. Something I'm very like numbers oriented, and like I don't care what I say. Like honestly, I don't care what it is. I don't care about the significance behind it. What I care about is, does it work? And so many people are so opinionated when it comes to sales processes that they see a dad joke and they're like, no way, I can't do it, or I have to keep it so conservative and buttoned up. Um,
No. People
this
have hard conversations in the chats, dude. I've realized dude, the amount of people that even really bad dad jokes go, that one's great. That's an amazing opener. And then we have transitionary statement of finding out what their goal is and going from there.
yeah, and it's a good transition too. So it really connects the dots between the dad joke. I think that's also another thing is a lot of people will do these random hooks, but then they don't have any bridge from the
Yeah,
hook to the conversation, and so it goes nowhere. It's just you got the open, but now what? You know,
that's
so
it.
you gotta be able to bridge it. Um,
Yeah, I agree with you on that
yeah.
110%.
But yeah, so we were talking about really the sophisticated market. So what have you noticed happening in the market lately?
Yeah,
Um, you know, your market, my market, our market, just the market in general. What I see, and this isn't data. This is just what I see is just more competition, and then more competition with AI, and then AI accelerates the competition. So when that
mhm.
happens, is you either your only option is to buy into. You said you bought from me because we vibed, and
Yeah,
y-
yeah.
that's a huge. That's not like data to ignore. So people are buying from a person or buying from the do we have a good conversation, and that's something in the principles of like, you've seen my affinity, the reality that there's a scale of how
Mhm.
much how deep the relationship goes. And if
Mhm.
you can actually manufacture that, I hate to say manufacture because it's an organic authentic thing,
Yeah.
businesses don't know how to do it,
No.
you know. So really, I think in this space, because of how much garbage is out there, you really cling on to somebody who you've already gotten the results from, who you vibe with. Because let's be honest, you can get results with somebody and you don't like them, and you might you might not want to stick.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have that argument of like, I don't have you don't have to like me to buy from
Yeah,
me. But I don't like that approach. I think a lot of my clients genuinely like who I am.
yeah.
And I prefer that because I think more work gets done with that as long as it doesn't turn into a doormat situation.
Well, let's
You
talk
know?
about that then, because this has come up multiple times. Like we had our conversation with Vaughn. He said Vaughn likes me. You know, the your clients like you, so they do what you say.
Yep.
You like me, so you bought, invested, you put your trust into me.
Yep.
I actually have a whole formula for it. I know it works because I know the formula.
Mhm.
But a lot of people, they don't think that way. They think just solutions.
Yep.
But what I realize is if people stop liking each other, and let's say like an organization, you have a bunch of appointment setters. Let's say a sales organization, salespeople. What I found is when the camaraderie and the morale goes out, the manager has to use force, and then the more they use force, the more they don't like the manager. And when I say force, is things like threats, duress, uh, pain. You have to really make people do stuff. You're like, God damn, you get angry, you got emotional people, and then it gets worse and worse, and the people's performance goes down to that degree. And it's the same with sales. I actually have a theory, and I would say it's proven, but I'm gonna call it a theory. Nobody will buy from you unless they actually like you. They will not invest. And if they do invest, they'll typically not want to continue talking with you, and they'll find some
Wow.
reason to leave the program.
Yeah. I can attest for that personally. There's a program that was framed up for me as I'll talk about this is why one of the reasons I was jaded coming into you so heavily too. I was sold a program supposed to be like high level local networking. I won't mention the program because I don't want to deal with the dude because he is pretty big.
Mhm.
Um, I was sold it as that. And I was, because I just kind of came into it. buying a little dating course because I was just morbidly curious. I like reading that stuff because I've always followed that
Yeah.
through the years. I think social dynamics are super interesting. There's a lot in dating that can be applied to
Yeah.
business and everything else that we miss.
Yeah.
So I bought this thing and I get on and they sell me this. They say, oh, it's this. It's a 15 grand program. And I'm just like, I'm doing super well at the time. So I'm like, okay, sure. I mean, if it accomplishes this, let's do it. I get 2 months into it and it's completely not that. It's a weird men's cult. The people on the call are all talking and like they're dropping like all kinds of like all the stereotype, like really bad men talk kind of thing, which it's cool when it's just like maybe you're with your buddy, you're talking in private, but you got a room of 20 people and it's like them telling stories
Sounds
about how
appropriate.
yeah, stuff I didn't want to be a part of. So I talked to
Sure.
my coach about it quite, and he was like, "Oh, encouraging me to keep going." And finally, I got a way out of it. Never use what's it called? Split it by whatchamacallit, because if your person hates you and they want their money back, all they have to do is request a refund from
Mm-mm-mm.
and you get it back, and that's how I won. Thank God. And because they were strong arm me saying, "No, dude, we're not gonna let you out." Because I told them, like, "Look, I will pay for the 2 months I've done. I will let you keep the deposit that I paid.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
let me be out of this program. I just don't want to be associated with it." And they didn't. So I mean, that's why there's those Jaded coming in. But the whole thing is this: everyone's. I mean, like we're going back to the market here a little bit. Like we have Brandon Forbes exiting info space. We have Grayson Lupus exiting info space in the same like funnel method that I use too. So I think what's happening is this, like we're in this thing where, like you're saying, AI is accelerating people in info space and any space so quickly. Either they go, I can't keep up, and they change course, or they, go way into the course, but then they get so enveloped in AI that it loses its humanity and we lose that likability we're talking about. You
Hmm.
know what I mean?
I do know. Yeah. Well, then, what's your theory on the AI? Because there's a lot of people who don't. It's an introducing a new factor into this whole DMing and sales game, where nobody knows because it's one. It's kind of like a vaccine. You don't nobody. If it's a brand new one, you're kind of a guinea pig if you take it.
Yeah.
So with the AI, it's like it's taking over appointment setting. It's even taking over dials and calls. So so what's your theory? And I'll spill my theory on it. But
Oh, I can't wait to hear your theory on it. 'Cause we've talked about it a little bit. I've never heard you really let loose on it. My theory is this. Okay. Now, and I'm somebody that recently, because I think we talked a while back, and I was trying to stay away from AI, but now I'm really into it using agentic AIs and Claude Code and all that. Like I've got like literally while we're working right now, I've got this thing prepping up action items document for my clients I talked to today, sending out market research reports to clients for potential prospects. It's great on that side. I don't think it's where it needs to be yet because it doesn't have that emotional intelligence in any way, and it probably hopefully never will. Um, to really do the setting properly, in my opinion. Can it work? Do I have like on my Facebook side of things where I'm not really that invested in it being a lead source? I'm testing an agentic AI, scraping leads, doing actually your setting script, um, the Facebook variation you have, and then doing all that stuff. But do I expect it to be anywhere near as effective as say Vaughn or
mm,
Julie?
mm,
No, not at
mm,
all. Not at all. Even though it's doing the same tasks, using the same script, what it doesn't have, and what is kind of the challenge in training your VAs and training, I'm sure, other business owners in this too, because they're so used to that formal tone, is just it doesn't have the ability to loosen up and
mm,
just like dare to go in there and say, oh, sorry, I'm just practicing my dad jokes to get for my future kids' little league games, lol. It doesn't have the ability, like, even if you tell it that, it's still not gonna hit the same, and I think too, getting into a little woo-woo here, but I think it's good woo-woo, I believe, and I've told this theory to a lot of people, that I think we can feel at a psychic level when we're talking to an AI or doing something AI related,
mm.
So that's kinda my whole thing, is to synopsize it up, I just don't think it's there yet to replace the setter.
Yeah.
I'd love to be proven wrong, but even if I'm proven wrong, I'm still keeping Mia Vaughn, so that way he can do it. Had
Yeah.
it up.
Cool. Yeah. I think we're right there. I think we're on the same page there. My opinion on it is the most important lines. in the business. Lines meaning communication lines, who you're communicating with. You know, relay terminals you could look at, or
Yeah.
client success, things like that. Those important things in your business are the ones that I think should be run by a human being, a really well trained human being. So the sale should be human. The recording of your ads, the human should be the one talking. Uh, and I think because here's the thing with AI, I made a point on it. The only thing that AI, the only thing that limits AI is your imagination. That's my go-to slang on it. So meaning it can do anything you want it to. It's only limited by your imagination is. You're right. There's not a so I actually build my business on spiritual principles. No, one of the spiritual principles that I believe in is so human beings aren't static. They can grow and they get better and better and better over time, or they get worse and worse and worse over time. The management philosophy that makes AI work for people, the way they look at it is or the management philosophy, I'm sorry. See, I'm glad I'm hashing this out. The management philosophy that makes management of people not work, why people have such a hard time managing other people, is that they believe people stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
They're treating them like a cog in the machine. So one base hourly rate, one function, and that's it. And so what they do is they have a bloated team of people that are all staying the same. And what happens is people will quit if they don't grow. So what I do is I can use AI to its max potential by giving orders to my team to hit humongous targets. And like my VA when she started was like the most basic VA, like $3, $3 or $4 an hour. She
Yeah.
was like not like just very like basic tasks. She was on Upwork. But then I really, really, really pushed the ceiling with is that the word? Like I just gave her so much responsibility so quickly that she just kept adapting and adapting and adapting. Now she built she's running our backend mastermind dashboard builds. It's the most detailed, high level, high quality ad tracking and sales tracking dashboard that I've ever seen that she built. And she outdid me. I'm just like, wow. I I don't know how the fuck she did it. And she did it in a day. 24 less than 24 hours. I was like, okay,
Damn.
I don't know what the fuck like she's just on another level now. So she's worth to me probably 20 grand a month.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh
And it's not the AI. Like I don't know what she did with AI. I would have to sit down and do all that myself. And it's not AI replacing her. It's I'm setting her up to be an AI wizard. That's all I need. I can still have a smaller company. All right, so let me try getting this camera back on.
So I guess my question with that, while you're getting that,
Yeah.
checking that out, do you feel like with this AI wizard she's got, it's gonna come to a point where she's gonna be like, "Yo, I gotta do something else."
No, I don't. So that's another thing. So this is where I this is what I don't agree with the whole we're gonna get rid of all human beings. AI is gonna there's gonna be an AI for an AI. There's gonna be an AI that fixes the AI that fixes that AI. There's gonna be a system on a system, and I don't believe like what my philosophy is when you hire somebody, your job is to make them better. It's just like it's if you look at it just like a client success program, like a
Mhm.
sales program. By the end of the program, they show you they should be better at sales, right? So it all follows the same dynamic of personal development. So when you hire somebody, your job, you have to have a goal for them of who they're going to be in the next 2 years.
Mm.
So when I hired my VA a couple of years ago, she was bare bones $3 an hour. She wasn't worth that much to the market at that level. Now I have given her so much responsibility. I've had her self teach AI and all these other things. Like I said, she's worth $20,000 a month to me at least. Like
Mm.
that, she's so irreplaceable in the business, but she's because of me. So then the question is, okay, well, if she got that good, wouldn't she leave the business? That's the whole point. Either you level people up to the point where they get into leadership roles grow the business. Because here's the thing, she will always have a job as long as I'm growing.
Mhm.
So here's the basic philosophies. Businesses should scale infinitely. You should never have a goal to end the scaling. That's a so there's only okay, I'm gonna go even more basic. There's two functions in life. There's survive and succumb. That's it.
Mhm.
And all of your decisions are filtered through survival and succumbing. Succumbing mean like, yeah, I'm done surviving. I think I'll die now. Or I think I'll let the company crumble. Oh, or like, when you get lower toned or lower emotions, you'll think things like, this always happens to me. I feel like I just give up. Just want to give up. Succumb. Okay. And then there's survive. So when you're running a business and you're managing people, you have two functions. I talk to people who are like, yeah, you'd be happy with 30,000 a month, and just end it right there, and I'd be comfortable, and I'd kick my feet up, and I'm like, no, 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 no. That's a succumb. That's succumbing. You're deciding actively to stop the growth of something. So it's not getting bigger, better, and more amazing. So a business should never just decide to stop there. Oh yeah, we'll stop it there. Unless it's a strategic move, kind of like a Jeff Bezos, he did a strategic move to lose a lot of money to gain a lot of money later. That's
Mhm.
fine. But if you have that philosophy, then everybody in the business will either grow and rise with the business or they will fall off. And the right people will stay and the wrong people will leave. And so when you run a business with, like you said, what's keeping her from leaving? The only thing that would make her leave is that she could take those skills and sell it in the marketplace because she's there's a cap on the business actively that I added to the business.
Yep.
I would have to be the one to stop the growth of the business to mean her growth would stop. She would only leave if she's not growing. So you see this with businesses where their executive teams they're like, "Cool man, that was a good game. We made $100 million. High five. I'm gonna cash out mine. I'm gonna exit, and I'm gonna go start my own consulting company." And there's a lot of people that have done that because the company didn't have a goal or a plan to go to the billions or the whatever. They didn't keep growing. So, there's always division in opinions and things like that. But no, I found that they stay even harder. They click in and grow the company even more. Um, so businesses really have a real hard problem with
Yes.
with keeping things small on purpose, and they wonder why their management sucks. Like for example, a 10K a month business that hires a full time closer. Well, a closer wants to make money, so the more money the business makes, the closer makes more money. So I see that where they're like, I just want to automate, automate, automate. No, your goal when you hire somebody is to grow that person to keep leveling up. It's kind of like what they're doing is climbing an org chart. They're going from a base level person. They're moving up to more of a managerial role, then executive role, and then a presidential role. They're going higher and higher up that chart.
Yeah.
But if they're not, they're either going down or they're going to go leave and find something that's going to give them better opportunity. That's what I've found. But that's the spiritual principles that I operate on. And it works. It works over and over and over again without so much technical crap. So the whole you asked my philosophy on AI. Well, AI, what is going to happen? It's actually a counter survival thing to not have people employed, to not have people growing and getting better, because it's not just about you. This whole business thing isn't just about you. There's people that you have responsibility for to make better, to make their lives better. All right. So, but the thing is, the people in your business need to adapt with AI. So that's the thing that will make them better. So the way I have this analogy, um, my assistant, for example, my assistant, I said, if you look down back on where you were, every single task and job that you used to do is now completely automated by AI. So if you would have stayed down there, it's kind of like cabins on a boat that's sinking, right? She would have been underwater. So my goal with her is to she keeps automating and creating agentic AI to solve different areas, where she has to now rise her ceiling.
Mhm.
and not go back down because that's a drowning. She'd be kind of underwater, right? So that's kind of my analogy with it. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, I think we have a similar philosophy on AI. It's great. It's gonna work. Like I don't know. It's not yes AI or no AI. I'm not like that. It's you got to
Yeah.
adapt it. You have to adapt your team to it. That's the thing. That's the only difference.
Yeah, and I think too, even with like I try and tell people because what some people what they want to do is it's like me in video. They want to like open up a Chat GPT or Claude, and they want just to produce a beautiful script for me. I say, give me a viral video script. That's not enough, dude. It doesn't have act like my Claude has gone through all of my text messages, all of my go high level, all of my email, all of my everything in communication over the last even 10 years and is learning how I speak. And would I still trust it to be my DM setter yet? Probably
Mm,
not. But to do simple follow ups and stuff like that, it can do that to an extent. I think it's
mm,
even better, like you're saying, managed by a human.
yeah, but then you have to also know how to like. Okay, AI is a skill. Like let's be real, and I would say most people are at a fraction of their capacity of how they're using AI.
Yes.
And they don't know how to prompt it. They don't know how to talk to it. They don't know how to think with it, or the way that they think is being, what's the word, magnified.
Yeah.
The way they think is being magnified with AI. So if they're not thinking well, then it's magnifying stupidity. You see, and so when you know how to use AI really well, it's just an extension of your mind. You're able to think with it. I don't know. I see that people are like, I'm like, huh. You're using AI. You're sitting here ranting and raving about how amazing AI is, but your business isn't scaling. So the statistics say it's not that great. What are you so excited about? You got to automate something right now. You shouldn't be thinking about automations. You have nothing to automate. You should be thinking about growing your business, and AI isn't doing it for you. So what's actually happening here? That's the only people I'll listen to with AI who are scaling crazy. I seen like Dan Martell, like he's scaling and scaling and scaling, and you can tell. And he's very heavily using AI. You know, are you frozen?
No, I was very listening.
Oh wow, yeah, you were.
I'm intent, man. I'm intense, man.
Yeah, I was seeing so Dan Martell really scaling, and like it means he's using it and applying AI correctly. But I was dude, I was online. My my setter was DMing a guy, and every single message was like super emoji driven, like so all these emojis, and it was very AI-y, and I call it the Uncanny Valley. I have actually a training in my last. It's called. Do people have? You know what the Uncanny Valley is?
No, no, no.
The Uncanny Valley is when something resembles a human. Uh, like for example, like you have a like a doll. Like imagine a doll that's like got button eyes, where it's obviously an anthropomorphized, but it's obviously not a human. It's a doll. But then you start making that doll more and more realistic and more like a human. But then what happens is like, let's say from here is like really doll like, and then here's like real, like 100% human. Uncanny Valley is where it's about right here. It's almost human. And Uncanny Valley is the weird feeling you feel when you see something like that. Like a marionette puppet that's way too human like.
Think about the first time I went to Disney World and went on and saw the animatronics.
Yeah. Yeah, but one that's really well done, but it doesn't look human enough and it makes you feel sick.
Yeah. And I think
It's
we can
what
feel that, can't we? Even if
it's
we don't see the thing in front, I think we can feel it.
You can feel it, and it's a weird feeling, and it's there for a reason, right? Everything's there for survival. It's to keep us away from non non-life forms, right? So the same thing happens. Is not just seeing it, but the same thing happens when you're reading a message. When you're like,
Mhm.
there's just something off. I can't. He's not. No one's home. So then I go to his profile.
Long dashes. Why are there so many of them?
Yeah. Yeah, and why are you not like you're acting like you're listening to me, but you're like flattering me. It's a little much. So then I'm like, nobody's really listening here. I'm gonna go find somebody that's like actually gonna listen. So then I go to his profile and it's all AI. Like the face is AI, the backdrop's AI, all the posts are AI. So basically, what's happening is he has an agentic AI running his entire profile. It's posting, it's his profile picture, it's DMing people, and eventually it's just gonna get to the point where I'm like, at what point, like, all I'm doing is I'm comparing numbers. Like, if he's booking like 8 calls a day from this, I'd listen. But I'm
Yeah.
not seeing that. I'm not actually seeing that. So it's almost like it's so overly automated to the point where it's costing you no time, but it's also not producing any results. So you just like kind of went down a notch. You just automated something that doesn't produce a result, but also doesn't cost you time. So people are so fixated on this time thing. Now I'm really good at managing my time. I work 3 days a week. I've
Mm.
really put in the structure in my business to the point where my team can run it. So I don't work that much. I don't grind away. But still, I don't do any of that shit.
Mm. Yeah.
Huh. I got real uncanny valley over it.
I think there's this other part of it too. And you tell me what you feel, Dylan. This is where you get to a little bit of like, I think people watching this that hear this part might be like, oh, he's taking a jab at me. Um, I think also a big part of the problem is people delude themselves about how convincing or how, because that's something we always talk about. You ever notice when you talk about AI and there's some new AI advancements, like, man, it looks so realistic and convincing. I think
Mm,
it's kind of part of the problem. Like, too, is people delude themselves. Like, I can spot an AI video nearly 100% of the time, even if it's on the latest nano banana, blah, blah, blah. You know,
mm.
Can I think most people can do that? Probably, maybe. I don't know. Definitely a
No,
lot of people.
talking to somebody where they showed me a video. They're like, "Look at this video." I said, "It's AI." They're like, "No, it's not." I'm like, and it wasn't a really good one either. I'm like, "This is totally AI. Look at they have all their fingers are one. They have one big finger. It's not they it's really I think it's really warping the mind in a way that they
Yeah.
really
Well,
can't
it's giving
tell.
people a delusion of grandeur that they've accomplished something
Mm,
when they really have not.
yeah,
Like,
true.
it's like, oh, I've created this AI and it's going to make LinkedIn posts for me every day. And you just watch. And it's like, yeah, that's great. But where are the results? Is it booking clients? Well, no, but it will over time. And it's like, okay, is it getting engagement? Well, no, but the algorithm wants to see consistency. No, it's not that. It's that your stuff sucks. Your AI slop sucks. And you
Yeah.
need to lose the emotional attachment to this little robot that you've made is solving this problem when it's freaking not. And what's going to solve your problem is spending 20 minutes at least on it a day.
Mhm. Yeah, I have the thing where like it, AI won't solve your discipline problem. Like you still have to have a discipline even if you're going to venture into AI. What I've noticed cuz here like I've been in this space for a while and I've seen I've seen the marketers and they come in and out. I've was the whole ClickFunnels craze. It's very trendy. In and it's business. Like if we just look at this as business, business is business. You either get results or you don't. This is the only space that I've seen where like people will pay people who don't get results for advice on things that like it doesn't make sense. So
Yeah.
it's very like then they'll pay someone to get results to look to like post a picture with that guy saying I got results or like I don't even know. It's the only space I've seen where people don't care about results. They just really care about who's cool and who's not. It's almost like high school. It's very
Yeah. It makes me think of like video before I started adding the ads element into it. Dude,
yeah.
I was making videos that were making. I mean, don't get me. I've closed easily like for my clients. I help them close video general like millions of dollars unequivocally.
Hmm.
I've got success stories that I tell people in the high end private sector, and they're like, dude, that's actually incredible. But the
So
truth is, a lot of them could have got those results that didn't because they just didn't want. They wanted to make it a they wanted to utilize in a stupid way, like, "Hey, we're gonna put this on my website." How are they getting people to the website? Are people
they want to do it their way.
Yeah, look, if you want Burger King, grab $3, well, I guess in today's world, $10, and go to Burger King. Dude, if you want a
Mm,
quality ass meal though, and you, like, really want something, you're gonna go afterwards, have results, and go like, "Yo, I'm really proud I had that meal." Dude,
mm,
go book yourself a a dinner, preferably a significant other, at a really nice restaurant. It's higher ticket. Like,
Yes.
you do really get what you pay for anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Completely.
I use it on my people because sometimes I get a price objection from my people because like, oh, that's a bit more unexpected. And it's like, based on what?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I had one guy offered Uber $750. I'm like, okay, if a roofer came to your house
Yeah.
and your roof's destroyed, you got the letters, no insurance, and he says, hey man, I went up and looked at it, I got it for you. $1,000.
Wow.
Sketchy.
Yeah.
Sketchy. And I think it's kind of funny though, because sometimes I'll say that to people, I can tell that they like don't get the point.
Yeah.
And some of them are roofers. So like, it's one of
So
those
let's
fun.
talk about that because so what we were talking about right now is people have an opinion on marketing. People have an opinion on sales. So like my opinion is so for example, like I don't have an opinion on dad jokes as your opener because I've seen it work. I just look at data, dad jokes or this sales process. I remember when I was in sales, I was so opinionated. I wanted to do it my way. I had such a fixed idea. It was fixed. I just stuck on it. And like the guy using the script, he was like, "Man, look at I have a 70% close rate with the script. You have like a 20%. Just use the script." And I kicked and screamed and didn't want to do it, and then I did it. And I was like, "Oh, wow, it's about time." I noticed that with a lot of business owners, they just don't want to adapt something new, or they don't want to, they, for example, like I had a guy and helping him write a book,
Mhm.
their ebook, and they want to call it some like fancy name, and I'm like that doesn't copywriting wise that doesn't hook and doesn't explain, like it doesn't work. They won't click it and to buy it, right? But it's like, yeah, but like this is my story, and all this emotional stuff comes out. Well,
Yeah.
all I care about is results, right? Like, how do you want this thing to sell, or do you want it to be like do you want to have like an emotional attachment to your, like, do you want to be an author? I'm not like, I have a book. I'm not an author.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be like, look at my story. I'm a TEDx speaker and I want to be well known across the land. No, I want to get results, dog. Like, I want this thing to have a good cost per purchase. That's all I care about. CPP and AOV, baby. That's all. So what would you tell someone, like, cause like you even came across it. Like I said dad jokes and you're like, whoa, I gotta trust the process. Like, what do you tell people who are just so fixed on their way of doing it and not getting results as a result of that?
Man, I don't know if my answer is gonna be one that's gonna be likable, but I mean, I basically in a lot of ways tell them like button up buttercup. Like, look, if you want to pay for that Prada purse and that that gender reassignment surgery that you're probably gonna need for just not buckling down and doing it the right way, it's gonna be out of your pocket, or we can like get you so much money you don't care about that. And all it takes is you following this document.
Yeah.
What's it gonna be? I literally, dude, I'm just savage with people because like for me, I think you feel this too. I'm very invested in my client's success. Like my dog trainer, who's
Mm,
crushing it right now. Who again we set up a very similar script to what I'm actively using. Is it works super well. He was trying to go in there and give him like the holy Bible DMs of like what they could do, and I told him, I'm like, Brett, I love you, dude, but you need to stop doing this. Well, I don't think I want anyone else in my chats. I think I'm the only one that can do this. And I said, okay, Brett, let's do this because we're on a Zoom call like we are now. Want to take control of the screen? Well, certainly.
yeah.
Booked in 3 calls for him in under an hour and said, okay, guess how much I know about dog training, Brett? And he goes, understood.
Yeah.
We're getting the VA trained up for him finally this
There
week.
you go.
So,
People hold themselves back. That's why I put together, and this is a little like soft tease to anybody watching. I put together a mastermind where those little things of like the fixed ideas and the way people think that holds them back, like, nobody can do it except me. Like, we eliminate it and we expand those people. Like, I have so much mental training that I can help people remove that crap. Um, I noticed that stuff it's like a block. It's literally a block, or
Mhm.
a revenue ceiling is a mental revenue ceiling people get stuck on.
Oh,
Um,
I still find myself trapped in it and I'm aware of it. It's just
Nah,
with your awareness in this particular area,
yeah,
basically on it right now.
yeah, yeah. Excellent. And just being aware of it is the first step. Most people aren't even aware that they have those blocks, which is what I wanted to ask you next. Is leads to the next thing is the actual transformation because we've done a lot more than just chat. I led in you in with chat, but we've done so much. We've talked about business and mindset and the
Yeah.
thought processes and hiring and leadership. What have you noticed in terms of either you or your business or both? What's been the shift or the transformation that you've noticed as a result of going through this?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's the stereotype stuff of, more book calls, which leads to more closes. We always talked about team development, how Vaughn's taking ownership, my VA, and he's just crushing it. I'll say this on the mental spiritual side. So there's things like that you go into like the tonal scale and things like that. Like I'd heard loosely of that, but somebody to explain that tone scale, for example, super valuable. And I've actually utilized it to help bring people out of one state and into another. And this
Mm,
is the thing. I think a lot of people. I think it's kind of one of those things. Like, I mean, I've got a background as a close-up magician. I used to do palm readings for a chunk of my living in my early 20s. I'm not a woo-woo guy at all. And I think some of the stuff at first, you know, kind of comes across as woo, but there's so much grounding in it. 'Cause we have to understand that like there's a science to everything and understanding those things is really important. But like the tonal scale, for example, is one that it's so hard for me to quantify, but you've been able to explain that to me beautifully, and I've been able to use it. Stealth selling course, which I still need to really dive even deeper into, but I've watched a little bit. Astounding, really good. We've talked about ads. You've given me ad ideas that have inspired me and been the backgrounds of my winning ads. We've man, just so much. And then like now we're even talking about agentic AIs and stuff like that and where they kind of fit, where they don't fit, and how you could bet take advantage of this stuff.
mm,
Um, and we even talked, I think the last call I was on, I missed yesterday, so it was a water park with my sister all day. But the one before that, I think it was Monday
mm,
or Tuesday, we had that talk where you're going over basically you broke down how your offer works and everything and what some of the transitionary offers are and all this kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
was ridiculously helpful. So the thing is, dude, if you're coming in here just like, I need someone just to solve the chat problem.
yeah.
Are you gonna get that? Yeah, of course. Like, dude, it's gonna be about, I would say in the next number of months, we're gonna start having whenever someone talks about sell through chat, it's gonna be chat funnels that they're gonna be thinking of. I think you're
Right,
gonna accomplish that goal very quickly. you know,
right.
because if you took a, because I'm not an overly smart or driven person. I'm very basic. I mean, I've got a fake glue bottle that makes it look like I'm putting glue in my hands, ping pong balls with eyes drawn on them for a gag, and before we got on the call, I pulled out a freaking fake tongue that I have a cuff link through and said, "Have I showed you my tongue piercing yet?" Just as a joke. I like, look, I'm framing this up for you. I sound and look real good on paper, but I am a freaking moron, and this guy's been able to whip my stuff into shape. Look,
Nice.
I don't care. You have to be a hopeless moron that just sleeps all day to not make this stuff work. It's been laid out very easily. I mean, I've even missed the calls. I said clearly, I missed a call yesterday because not the call for chat funnels because I was having a great time with my sister. But I think Vaughn and them still showed up.
Yeah, yeah, you did.
Yeah. Vaughn still goes on and does. He's taking that much ownership of it. There's another perk of it. Like Vaughn loves these calls he goes on and stuff. And not just because he gets an hour off from DMing, he's DMing on the calls. But
Mm,
long story short, like there's so much other stuff you're going to get from aligning yourself with this dude right here. And that's really what I think. The big thing to look at here is this: like you might think you only have one thing to solve, but I promise you, you have more. And if it is just one thing to solve, every problem solved splinters out and forms more problems. And Dylan's got most of the ones that splinters out with. It's the next steps kind of covered because he's been there and done that and done it for so many
mm,
people. You know.
yep. Wow, thanks, man. So lastly, what's next for you? So we want to. So now you got your, you came in and things were in danger. I think we had spoke about like things were in a pretty dire situation. The stats tanked. We fixed it. We got now you're not just one team member, you're two now, and you have
Three
clients
actually.
and yeah, okay. So really things are growing. There goes my camera again. It's okay though. We can go without a camera. Um, so what's your next move? What's your plan now that you have this new process? You have, kind of what we've been working on. What's next?
Yeah, so next for me, since we started too, the to give you the confidence in how the thing's been working. I think when I started with you, I dropped down to like $40 or $50 a day in ads. And it was, at this process, it was schnickel fritz. Once I built up and we looked at the data too, that's the other thing I'm going to mention. Data analytics, super huge in this. You're going to learn all about that. It's like now that I have the data, now that I've raised everything up, I'm at like $150 a day in ads right now. So goal number one, get it up to 200 plus a day because now I've got a system that literally I just pour money into and it gets results and we've got it tracked and we know the ROI and everything. Um, you know, from there, it's just basically doing more of what we're talking about. How do I now outsource various things of myself? Or how do I put in a CSM? How, where's my closer going to be at? Like, we're getting to the point where like I'm going to need those things because I need to focus on client fulfillment and client success, even outside what a CSM role would be. So for me, it's growing to hit that repeatable 30, 40, 50K a month.
Mm,
I've hit the 30 mark before. I want to get that continuous and consistent, or at least have it average out over the year and keep that going. But at the
mm,
same time, be able to bring more people in the organization so I can buy back my time and not be so damn busy all the time.
nice.
Uh, so yeah, I know it's not a lot, but I mean, my big thing is if I can buy myself a week or two free, I'm going to Vietnam.
Yep, nice. Really?
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
How long are you
Yeah.
gonna stay there for?
When I can buy myself some free time, but probably about 2 weeks is what I like to do for things like that.
Cool. Have you ever been?
No, I've heard it's great. My editor's there, so I get to hang out with her.
That's awesome. Well, cool, man. Well, lastly, what would you tell anyone on the fence about joining Chat Funnels or, buying the Chat Bible or working with me or whatever? Is there anything else you want to share on that?
Yes. Number one, if you don't buy the chat Bible, you're a cheap bastard, and what's wrong with you? 27 bucks, and it has all of the answers. Honestly, now what it doesn't have is what you need to jump on the call with Dylan for, and he will tell you straight up. I don't think I have the highest belief here that if I had not been a good fit for Dylan's program, he would have told me and said, "Hey man, I'll give you some value. Here's some more things." It would gave me a lot of stuff, and I would have got off there and been fine. I think that would have been the case. Get on the call with Dylan. If you buy the chat Bible, it's step one. Get on the call with Dylan. It's offered. Do it. And then just have some faith. If your business is adept in the type that, and most businesses are, honestly, to an extent. Manufacturers, I'm sorry, you're probably not going to be selling through DM chat. But if you are somebody in the info space, if you are somebody that's even possibly a local service based business, I've proven this works great with that. Dylan will be able to help you take out the bottlenecks in your process and get this installed in so little time. I mean, we were really turning around and whirring within the first 2 weeks to a month. Now we're just kind of, now I'm basically getting on our one-to-one calls that we have, and I'm like, Dylan, what else can we do, bro? Like, I'm literally bringing it to you, being like, Dylan, okay, we're whirring here. I know there's more stuff that needs to be done. What can we do? How can I utilize? Dude, dude provided ahead of schedule.
Wow.
So, I mean, just talk to the guy. Like, you get on a call with him, you'll know right away whether he'll tell you it's a good fit, you'll know if it's a good fit, and you'll know basically what to do next.
Wow. Appreciate it. Well, hey, you did a lot of heavy lifting too, so you got to give you credit, man.
Yeah.
Um, but I appreciate the kind words and well, yeah, guys. So if you do want to book a call with me, there's a link below. If you do want to continue, if you do want to just check out the chat Bible before talking to me, before committing to the call, go ahead and buy that. It's only 27 bucks. I'll give you your money back if I don't double your booking rate with that. And if anybody needs is a local business, I think Jakob is the go-to guy for that. So reach out to him for that. Reach out to me if you're an online business. Peace out, guys.